How important is the money?
Is it not important?
You'd be a Crip whether there was the money or not?
Yeah, y'all think Crippin' got to do with money?
It ain't got nothing to do with money. That's protecting your homeboys. Watching out for one another. Some of y'all don't do, y'all don't watch out. You wouldn't die for him, would you? You saying that now on TV, but you wouldn't die for him for real. I'd die for my homeboy.
Would you die?
Yeah, I'd die for my homeboy.
If somebody came up to you tomorrow, grabbed you and said, I got a job, a good job, good pay for you, would that make a difference?
Come on, let's go now.
It ain't gonna stop me from cripping.
But you take the job too, wouldn't you?
Huh?
You take the job too?
I'm a Crip at work.
Youth gangs, primarily black and Hispanic, are setting records this year. More than 160 gang-related killings in the Los Angeles area alone. Some, like Joker, survive attacks, though shot 5 times and paralyzed for life. Gang members say some of it remains traditional turf warfare.
It's bad. It's real bad. People dying over nothing, man. Over a neighborhood.
I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Ra Kwakadash, and I'd like to give double honors to the elders of GMS. Salutation to them. Salutation to the apostles and the brothers that's laboring the truth, doing the work, night and day, day and night. And to you sincere sisters that is loving Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, that's loving yourself, respecting yourself, loving your husband, loving your children, taking care of the homes, respecting your family, loving your family, doing the right things in the eyes of the Lord, staying positive, and, just learning in silence, learning from your husband. And, so, that's, I want to dive into this little segment here. This segment is about the affiliations and joining these so-called organizations and dealing with colors, the blue and the red. And if anyone knows what I'm saying, you should understand when I'm talking about the blue and the red, mostly, even though there's different colors, but primarily, these colors are dealing with the opposition of each other. In the state of California, they live this lifestyle, which is not a good lifestyle. It's a walking devastation, walking destruction, and it's not a place that children should not be involved in. How can other children and a lack of guidance raise children? It's like the blind leading the blind to a ditch. How can you guide someone else with proper guidance, and if you don't got it, so it starts with us. We have failed our children, we have failed ourselves, and we have failed in the eyes of the Lord. But there's always redemption, and we play a part of this cynical lifestyle, and this lifestyle that we see, it's not always cracked up what it seemed to be. Some days is fun, some days are not fun. And when you got to ride for your set, you got to ride for your set, for your neighborhood. You got to put on and putting in work. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a righteous lifestyle. This is a wicked lifestyle. It's demonic. A lot of lives been lost. A lot of lives been hurt behind it, destroyed behind it. People put in wheelchairs, people being paralyzed, people are living in a vegetable state. People has been living a very, very difficult time. It crippled a lot of people, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually, man. And sometimes people have to go the hard way. Is either jail or to the grave. So if you don't go to the grave, you're very fortunate because at least you're still alive. But now you got to go through another hell, another beast system where it will tear you up, man. It will brutally tear you up because violence only respect violence. That's the only way you're going to survive. You can't humble your way. Not saying you can't be humble, but you can't humble your way all the time. Or no, I don't want to fight today. No, you're going to fight. You're going to get down. Because if you don't get down, then you're going to get brutalized. Because the only reason why they do that is because they can't trust or see what the hell's going on with that person thought. So in order for them to think or see that's going to make them feel some kind of way is by seeing you put in some pain. They got to see where you stand as a man. And hey, listen, this is the result. This is the life that you choose. This is the life you're going to get. All right. So we're going to dive into this story right here, this segment. About a young kid, man, that tragically lost his life. His name is Chipmunk. I think his real name is Eric, I believe. He come from like any other ghettos, in America, man. Any in the city of youths, any urban in the cities, that we all grew up in, man. So they deal with the same constructs that we deal with, but there's a little different down there. It's more of a blue and red thing, and then with us, where I'm from, it's not only just a blue and red thing. It's more. It got to that point, but it was just more. It was more of more drugs. We dealt with more, paraphernalia, you know what I'm saying, in our neighborhoods, heavy. We had a lot of bloodshed, a lot of war. It wasn't like in the 80s and 70s. We didn't deal with colors. That was a California thing. We in New York, we dealt with turf and beef and war when it came to paraphernalia and women, styling and stuff like that. We came from that lifestyle. People stick up kids, robberies. They did this too, but I think ours was more on a higher scale, man. You know what I'm saying? And it was just really, really bad, man. Because when those paraphernalias came to our neighborhoods, what it did was it caused a lot of losses, man, with our families, our loved ones, man. And people that stuck still here, still on that shit, man. You know what I mean? All the people that I knew growing up, that I seen, the majority of them ain't here no more. They gone, lost their life, and the ones that changed and had a redemption of life, to see them do better and good in life, I'm happy to see that, you know what I'm saying? So, it was never good or never, not trying to put judgment on them, but it just wasn't right, man. They knew it wasn't right. It was just it's a hard thing to get away from, because that paraphernalia to them was their addiction, like how people got addiction to, a certain video demographic, if you know what I'm meaning. So I'm trying to keep it clean because, like I said, I don't want to this want to go spiral off. So let's watch this, man. We're gonna watch this about this young kid named Chipmunk, and we're gonna see, what this is about.
And this is clearly back in the days. You can tell from the black and white, the video footage, that this is few decades old, maybe in the early 1990s. But this individual here is saying the same things that we're saying now, 30 years later. That it's stupid, that we're dying for nothing. They knew that back then, carried it on, still continued, like we're continuing today. But people knew then that this gang-banging nonsense was nonsense and something that was self-destructive.
Hold on, guys.
And something that was self-destructive. He just said it.
Something that they really don't own.
Okay. You have a copy head there, little man. Okay. All right, you're just a little man, but you can do it.
That's what I'm doing all of this for.
We're checking you out, man. You dog, man.
Nice cracky you got up there, buddy.
Your dog been biting people. What do they call you, young man? What do they call you?
Chip.
Eric Maestro Decatur, also known as Little Chipmunk, was born on July 27, 1982 in Los Angeles, California, to his mother, Glenda London, and his father, Arthur Decatur. He was one of 7 siblings, and his home life was described as unstable and tumultuous, to say the least. Early on, his father was in and out of the home, but eventually he disappeared for good. He grew up in the west side of South Central on 83rd Street, in an area known as the Shady 80s, because it was well known for its crime and gang warfare.
And that's the thing too, man. And when you don't have a consistent father in the home to, or just be there, it's hard, man, because, you know, a man needs to be present in his child's, in his children's life, you know. And sometimes these women, they make it difficult, they make it hard, they put the system in our relationships. We got to answer to a systematic deity, man. You know, it's full of BS. And when you don't have a loving, supportive, 2-family home, it's very hard to succeed, man. It's very hard. You feel me? It's very hard, man. And children got to understand, man. You know, when you got 2 parents that love you and that care for you, they want to see you do right, you get, you shouldn't be able to fix your lip, man. You know how many people out here wish they could have a father, right? You have Monster Cody, a grown man that was a gangster, that put in work, that did the unthinkable, did the unshakable, a thing that you couldn't even imagine that a man can do. Did it all. He been with the best of them. He banged with the rest of them. All right? He put on. And he wasted time. And this grown man sat in an interview and cried. He's an adult in his older age. Cried. And saying that if my father was there, I think I would have made a better decision. So all gangsters that didn't have majority didn't have no fathers, they all wish deep down they would have had a father that probably could have, instruct them to do something better. And if you got a father and you still go to the wayside, you just being a rebellious person, a rebellious child, and we got to think about these things, man. Look at the prodigal son when you read in the Bible. You see the father had his 2 sons, loved his sons dearly. He wouldn't do anything in the world for his kids, man. But one of the sons, the younger brother, wanted to leave and go venture out. So what did he do? He gave him his portion of his earnings. And he went to go venture out. And I'm quite sure his father said, I'm going to pray for my son. Because there's nothing out there. He went out there to find what? Nothing. He splurged his money, his portions of his money. He did things, that was, unequivocal. You know what I'm saying? He did things that was, you can't even imagine. He got to the point where he was starting to be around swine flesh, probably eating it or whatever the case may be. But once he knew that he wasn't surviving or doing well in another man's land, he said, I gotta get back. I'm at my lowest. I can't be like this. So he's very fortunate to still have his dad around. He came back around. His father saw that he was merciful and he was humble, and he he needed a change. He saw the change in his son, and his son realized that his father was right. So he came back and embraced his son with love, kindness, meekness. And that's what I think that all of us should have when it comes to our children. But, we are guilty of tearing them down and, just violating them. And, you never want to hurt your child in front of amongst people, man. Sometimes you may have to chastise your child and they may get upset at you or get mad, but you gotta check them, put them in place. And that's what a father does. That's like me. I had to chastise my son yesterday. I had to go upside his fucking head. Because, I had to give it to him because he has to listen. He's growing up. He's a preteen. He got taller. He's starting, his voice changed already. So he's feeling himself a bit. And he's just yelling, talking. I'm telling him, calm your voice down. Channel your emotions down, son. And he just couldn't accept the answer that I was giving him based on what he was doing yesterday, And he just wanted to do what he wanted, or let that be all and me accept what was being done from him. And he just going hard, and he just doing this. I just got up, wow! I don't want to do that to my son, but I have to. And yeah, he was upset, he cried. But I'm not going to reward him when he's doing bad or talking bad. And he's not a bad kid. He just get overly hyped and overly, he has to calm himself. He's very excited to explain himself and keep talking, but he don't want you to talk reasoning, an adult reasoning with him. He don't want to hear adult reasoning. He want to hear his way. It doesn't work that way because you don't take care of me or you don't take care of your mama, So you got to respect the man in the house, which is me. You understand? So that's a little short thing I had to say. But my son appreciate the chastisement. He appreciate me being there and put him in place because he's not a bad kid. He's a good kid. Not saying because he's my son, I'm not being biased, but I am to a degree because I'm raising my son and I'm raising him how to be a man one day. He's he's still very immature, and he has to learn. He has to learn proper etiquette, So I but he's a teenager, so I get it. He wants to, whatever. I get it. I was a teenager once. I was once his age, so I understand. So, but I don't want him to get into that habit of believing that he could do whatever he wanted and there's no repercussion. Hold on, guys.
The Shady 8.
So, I gotta make sure that he's on his P's and Q's. Make sure he's doing what he got to do. Cause I told him, I said, one day you're gonna have to live on your own, son, and your mama ain't gonna come over there and do your laundry for you, or your sisters. You gotta learn how to do it now. So he's cleaning his clothes, learn how to do it, and showing him. You know what I'm saying? When he got his clothes, I'm teaching him how to iron. I gotta teach him a little bit more. Teach him certain things as time goes on. Teach him how to be clean. You know what I'm saying? Teach him how to smell good. And I said, yo, hey, look, man, take this, that, and that. Okay, Pop. I said, take a shower, man, maybe twice a day, 3 times a day if you have to. And, just trying to be on point. You feel me? So look, man, I understand these kids. I understand what what they go through, but sometimes you gotta check them because sometimes they can get out of line, and we don't have that. If you don't check a child, he get out of line, he's gonna keep doing this shit over and over, and it's gonna get to the point where these same adults that's older, they're mean, they're bad. They don't act right because nobody fucking checked them. Nobody never checked that fucking nasty attitude. And that's why you see grown adults having problems with other adults, because they have not been raised or checked because of certain, excuse me, a certain way of life. You understand? Okay? Let's watch on.
Because it was well known for its crime and gang warfare. It was different from other hoods on the west side who had a
Chipmunk, of course, I know him, or know of him, you know, of course I do. He was from A. Trey Hoover, and grew up right there on 83rd. The shady 80s is indeed what they call it. I have to correct some of the stuff that goes out on the internet, some of these channels that don't really know nothing about the city, but some of these people do their investigation. It's okay, because I might do something on Chicago. I'm not from Chicago, you know, so it's all right.
more manicured and middle class type of look. But where Chipmunk came up at was known for its poverty, filled with rundown and dilapidated buildings. Everything negative that a child should never have to witness coming up. Chipmunk had front row seats and seen it all. His mom did the best that she could raising her kids in the rough area, and she was one of the few white residents who lived there. Chipmunk attended Manchester Elementary School, where he was known for his outgoing personality, being good with numbers and creativity. He was even a part of the school's gifted program due to his high level of intelligence. And when he wasn't at school or at home, you could catch him playing basketball at the courts located on 88th and Hoover. But not having his dad around left a void in Chipmunk's life, and it made him feel lost. Unfortunately, he would seek out a father figure in the same place that so many other young inner city, the streets. And by the age of 11, he joined the A. Trey Hoover Crips, who had a reputation for being one of the most ruthless and infamous gangs in all of LA. After being established in the 1960s, they initially called themselves the Hoover Groovers. But as the Crips gang made its rise throughout the 70s, spreading throughout Los Angeles, they ultimately made an alliance and became the Hoover Crips. Despite his young age, Chipmunk repped his gang to the fullest, pushing the line just as hard as any OG Hoover. Despite his small stature, Chipmunk loved to fight and would go at it with people much larger and older than he was. He was known for riding his bike up and down Figueroa and Hoover, pressing anybody that looked unfamiliar and wasn't from the neighborhood. Internet personality Bosco 100 of the Queen Street Bloods even recalled running into Chipmunk when they were kids because they were pressing him and trying to get him to join the Hoovers.
They end up telling Chipmunk, they told Chipmunk, they were like, get him, get him groove. I remember I was hearing he like get him groove, get him. So he fired on me. He was little. He fired on me. Man, I must have turned around and kicked his ass. I kicked his ass. I grabbed his hair. I ain't gonna lie, I pulled his hair. He's that little long hair shit. I pulled his hair. We was out there squabbling. Then they start jumping us and shit. My cousins start running shit. I start running too. We ended up getting up out of there.
By 12 years old, Chipmunk had become prolific at stealing cars and would teach his other young friends in the Hoovers how to do the same. He was with the gunplay as well and loved his .38 revolver, robbing unsuspecting people in the neighborhood and having shootouts with the Hoovers' numerous rivals. In 1995, he would be featured on national TV after he was arrested on the television show LAPD Life on the Beat. Chipmunk and another young Hoover member were accused of going on a crime spree that day that included attempted murder, robbery, and jacking somebody for $25.
So you hear that? That's how it starts. When you get peer pressured and when you start to join these affiliations, then as time goes on, they tell you, they say, yo, you got to do certain things to be worthy of the set, because you down with the set, and you can't tell them no, because you got to do these things. If you don't, the punishment by law is that you gonna get judged by them, and you don't like to get reprimanded by them. You know what I'm saying? Because they not gonna have no kind of mercy, so to speak. You know what I mean? They don't have to share no kind of mercy. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, okay? So then the the crime wave of things starts to take motion. All right, the little attempted of fighting. Then they say, okay, all right, he did that, so let's test him a little bit more. All right, go rob somebody, go do this and that. And now, okay, all right, he did that, cool. Now we got to test him to do this. All right, trying to see if he can do a little, you know what I mean, unaliving someone. Let's see if that can work, or make an attempt to do that. All right, okay, he did that. Okay, cool. All right, what's next? Then, but not thinking that there's consequences, repercussion for your actions, you know? And that's what we're going to find out right now.
Chance the top of your head there, little man. Okay. Chance the top of your head there, little man. Okay. All right, you're just a little man, but you gotta do it. What they call you, young man? What they call you? Chip. Chip? What's this, dude? What's that? Been smoking the chronic?
No.
You got any tattoos, Chip?
Yep.
The officers know that each of the gangs has a characteristic tattoo.
Damn, this is bad, really. It's really sad.
Look, like the brother say here, it's really bad. It's really sad, man. You know, you got a kid that's, you know, he look innocent, but he ain't innocent, so to speak. He's being deemed as such as because he's following with the wrong crowd, you know. And he said, what's all this such for? Look, he look like he could be a good kid. But, you know, you want to be down with the get down, you know, you're going to be treated like the get downs. You're going to be treated like the nigga that you are. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and he's the black kid in the neighborhood. You know, his mother's white, but, you know, by according to the law, we go according to the father's seed. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, when you think about it, the chipmunk was very young, and we all failed him. It's emotional. We all failed him. This is a real boy. Sitting there with, with narcotics, out here carrying weapons. Look at little kid. The hood failed him. Black men failed him. The Hoovers failed him. Society failed him. The gang culture failed him. Black people failed him. We have to do better. There's no way we should not even accept someone this young.
That's right.
As to be a gang member. There's no way.
There's no way.
What can he do, bro? That's a kid.
That's right, brother.
Right there.
Stand by.
Mother?
What is all of this for?
What you checking you out, man?
That ain't right.
No.
What ain't right?
Ain't wrong.
It's all good, man, all right?
How old are you, young man?
Well, Dad. How many times have you asked me this?
You're gonna get yourself in trouble one of these days, aren't you? Huh?
Stand by.
Mother? Do you know the young man that was...
And you see, and the hood watching him, and they all across the street looking. They seeing people in the alleyway looking to see what he gonna do. Sometimes you're set and do that on purpose to get you to do things, knowing that you're underage, knowing that if you do it, the penalty won't be as harsh as it would be for an adult. And sometimes, and they do it sometimes to get you caught up because they want to see what you're going to do. You know, they want to see what you're going to do. If you're going to rat, talk, tell, what, you know. And that's what happens, man, when you do these things. Not saying he did it particularly, but, you know, we going to find out.
Hey, the little young ones, 12, 13 years old, they're trying to prove themselves, so they'll go out and put in the work because they know nothing's going to happen to them.
He was arrested and locked up at the Los Padrones Juvenile Hall, and only 3 weeks after his release, he would meet a very tragic fate. On the night of August 26, 1995, he was chilling on the block with the Hoovers When a rival gang pulled up on them in a car with somebody holding a handgun in the front seat and
Here it
somebody
is.
holding a rifle in the back seat,
Here it
started
is.
firing multiple shots into the crowd. Chipmunk was hit multiple times and died on the scene. His death hit the
You
Hoopers.
see that? He lost his life. He lost his life. He got killed because of bad company. He lost his life. They ran up on him because of what he did prior to that. And plus what the other members was doing as well. As you know, so they caught him and they knocked him off. Took his soul out of here. You know? Let's get a scripture real quick. Let's go to I want to go to Jeremiah 4:22. You know it's a classic scripture. Scripture says, "For my people is foolish, they have not known me. They are sottish children, they are ignorant children, and they have none understanding." That little kid don't have no understanding. They are wise to do evil. You see, they are wise to do evil, right? They are all this knowledge to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. So he didn't have no knowledge of he had no knowledge of the Lord. He had no knowledge of him, knowing that he's supposed to keep the commandments, knowing that he's an Israelite. You understand? Let's go to 2 Samuel 6 and 9. I'm sorry, y'all. 1 Samuel chapter 2, let me see, verse 6 and 9. And let's start at 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. So the Lord do all these things, man. The Lord do all these things. Let's go to Deuteronomy. I believe it's 32 and 29. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. So this is Deuteronomy 32 and 39. Scripture says, "See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." So if the Lord send a judgment to you, best believe it's coming. Best believe it's coming. And the Lord is not playing. The Lord do all these things. It's still the doings of the Lord. It's spiritual warfare behind the scenes you don't know. All right, let's go to Book of Sirach. Let's go to Book of Sirach, chapter. I believe it was 39. Let me see. Yeah, and 27. It says, "All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil." Verse 28, because that little kid's a sinner, man. He's sinning. 28, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes." So what did those people do? They lay on sore strokes that was influenced by the spirit, man. In the time of destruction. So that little kid, he got destroyed, man, in the time of destruction, man. They poured out their force. So they poured their force out on them. Right? And appeased the wrath of him that made it. And please Yahweh that created them. So what you want to do? Your arms are too short to box with God. Right? Didn't Nas say that? Let's go to Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. It dropped down. Slakia. So the Ezekiel 9th chapter is when the Lord sent the angels to come and cause terror, man. You know what I mean? For those who didn't have the seal and protection, they was going to be put to death. Those who had the seal and protection. They was going to be covered by the grace and mercy of the Lord. All right? And when the Lord comes with a great deal, and he's forewarning you, don't argue it. Just listen to the prophets, what the prophets are telling you. Right? Give me a second. I'm trying to find this. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got it. This is verse 6. Ezekiel 9 and verse 6. No, it's talking 5. And to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, meaning to go destroy and kill. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So don't have pity for them. Don't feel sorry. He telling the angels, don't feel sorry for them. Do what's being done. Do what I tell you to do. Right? Verse 6. Slay utterly old and young. Who was the young? Chipmunk was young. So the spirit came to destroy you. Both maids and little children. He was a little child. And women. But come not near any sanctuary. Then they began the ancient men which were before the house. There you go, man. There you go. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah. And 8. And you guys get mad when we pull these things out, but it's true, man. All right? The scripture says this, Jeremiah 28 and 8. Scripture said the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries. Right? Many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Okay? So our job as a prophet is to prophesy that. It said verse 9, the prophet which prophesies of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord has truly sent him. So when things hit the fan, you were like, oh shit, man, yo, that dude was right, man. So I'm trying to tell y'all, man, be careful what you're doing out here in these streets. You children, you obey your mother and obey your father. Obey your father, man. Have respect, man. Honor your father and your mother, and your days shall be longer, man. You know, so. But anyway, I ain't gonna keep this video too long. I mean, it can keep going on and on. But I hope it was edifying. Shalom.